This is right now on the CBS 8 app. Today is June 12th, and many of you are probably celebrating a couple of things. We've got the World Cup that kicked off just yesterday. U.S. going to be taking on Paraguay coming up at 6 p.m. today. Also the first match here in the U.S. Many of you may be trading on Wall Street and enjoying the largest IPO initial public offering ever with SpaceX. And others might just be happy it's Friday.
You might not be happy if you're using Fidelity. I'm pretty sure I just saw that Fidelity was down earlier today. We were waiting a while to just see. Fidelity has been down multiple times. That is according to my very quick Reddit search. So, maybe a little bittersweet, the high demand. But yes, I mean, Friday, we got soccer tonight. There's been watch parties all throughout the area. We covered some of them yesterday. We're covering more today. It's been a really, really exciting time. This is at least one of my favorite times during the year because, it gives us an excuse to talk about sports. People who watch the show know that you and I are big sports fans, but when you see the push from our bosses and throughout the newsroom where it's like we really do want to focus on it, it's like, oh my God, we got a free ride to talk about the stuff that we love, which is sports. So we've had a great opportunity. We have to.
I mean, twist my arm, right?
Exactly.
But of course, there are a number of topics that we're going to get to. We're going to have our Jenny Hutt in here to talk about some of the local state politics. We know the governor's primary matchup, the general election matchup, I should say, has been decided by the primary. That's been finalized. We'll get some thoughts from Jenny Hutt there, as well as on some of the other topics brewing in Sacramento. But why don't we start our show with what's going on here in San Diego? This is a trial that obviously has captivated not only San Diego, but the rest of the state, the nation, and even beyond. Yesterday marked day 15 of the Larry Millete murder trial. Millete is accused of killing his wife, Maya, who hasn't been seen since January of 2021. Cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom, but our Shannon Handy was there and has the latest from Chula Vista.
A lot happened today. Attorneys argued about an affair Larry had years before he and Maya had kids. Defense says it's not relevant. The prosecution said it is. Now, the judge did side with the defense, but he noted that this was already brought up during testimony, so it's not a secret. We also heard from a DA investigator who talked about things Larry allegedly Googled, things like poison hemlock and do you die faster by being shot in the head or heart. He also discussed messages that Larry sent to spellcasters leading up to Maya's disappearance and what his cell phone activity revealed after. DA investigator James Rhodes testified that in late December, less than 2 weeks before Maya vanished, Larry sent a series of messages to multiple spellcasters saying he was desperate to save his marriage. In one message he wrote, "I'm ready to take the gloves off. Please make May sick and keep her sick and incapacitated enough so she can't leave the house until she realizes how much she loves me and needs me." In another, Larry allegedly wrote, "She's only nice to me when she needs me or is sick." At one point, he said they were on a family off-roading trip in the desert and asked for, quote, "an accident or a broken bone." Maya disappeared on January 7th, 2021, shortly after telling family and friends she planned to divorce Larry. The Chula Vista mother of three was last seen on a neighbor's surveillance camera. Rhodes also walked jurors through Larry's cell phone activity in the days that followed. According to cell phone forensics, Larry turned his phone off on January 8th at 6:35 a.m. and didn't turn it back on for 12 hours until 6:34 p.m. Also today, once again, things were tense between the defense and the prosecution. At one point, there was an argument about a screenshot found on Larry's phone. It was a CNN article about the Gabby Petito case, which is a well-known domestic violence murder case. Specifically, the headline was about her fiance's demeanor after her murder, and apparently Larry screenshotted this in September of 2021, 1 month before he was arrested. Reporting in Chula Vista, I'm Shannon Handy for News 8.
I would say one of the biggest things that I think I took away from this day 15, which was yesterday. Of course, that was also the end of the week. We don't usually see court on Fridays, so we'll see this pick back up on Monday. We'll have our breakdown of it on Tuesday. But it's been very consistent, what we've been seeing from the prosecution and the defense. And you know, we hate to sound like a broken record, but I think it's important to know, to set the context for all of the evidence that we see in every day, which is it's a circumstantial potential trial. So you're going to see both sides really try to frame via whatever evidence they have, not necessarily, of course, the main argument is that from the prosecution is that Larry Millete killed Maya Millete. But a lot of times it is who is Larry.
Yeah.
That is what you see the focus on. And today, or yesterday, mind you, was probably the day where we started to see, especially with those Google searches, what perhaps could have been their strongest pieces of evidence. We've heard about Hemlock, we've heard about the spellcasters, and we've detailed at length how those requests that were issued to these online spellcasters frequently got darker, more malevolent, focused less on a yearning for the love that he once had with Maya, bless you, and more for simulating some sort of dependence and by, malevolent means. We started to see some really interesting and concerning searches. Of course, before we go into this, it is important to note that we haven't seen any claim as to how Maya might have died. That's something that the defense has said at multiple times. So we don't want to make. I don't want to make this sound like this is in any way insinuating anything. Of course, that's what you're going to hear from the prosecution. I just want to make that clear. But some of these Google searches that they had, and I want to make sure I have this correctly. This was from a whistleblower account, as you probably heard Shannon say there, and this was done at the SWRMC where Maya worked.
Their place of work,
Their place of work to expose the affair that she had with Jamie Laird, and they were able to get these searches that he used via Google on this account from March to April 2020 and a little bit thereon after. But some of them that were the most concerning was this. This was April 15th at 3:22 p.m. Shot in the heart, instant death.
Yeah.
How quickly do you die when shot in the heart? Gunshot in the head. Faster death than shot in the heart. So if there's one of the things that we've talked about both on and off camera was we've kind of speculated to ourselves, what are we going to see from the prosecution when it comes to a potential cause of death? Is this something that we're even going to see? Because we were kind of balancing the risks for it. It's, that could potentially make your argument stronger because you have not only a theory as to the fact that Larry was the one that did it, but you also have you have a theory as to how he did it. However, we were also discussing how that could potentially put them in a corner and could jeopardize it if, it's incorrect or if the evidence is not as ironclad as perhaps the prosecution had thought. It's still a question, though, because as we've talked about, there has been samples that have been taken from the car specifically where there were different markings that could have been blood. There was testing that was done on it. We saw that testing results said it needed further testing, and as of right now, we don't have that information. So still a lot of unknowns, but if there's something that if you're the prosecution and you want to point to specifically as to how he could have done this, if that's the argument you're trying to make, that is probably the one that I think they're going to try to lean on the most, at least at this point.
Yeah, but I'm sure that this is something the defense brought up is I think that this was alarming. This was something that I also sort of identified here going through the notes. It's like, wow, okay, we are actually seeing Larry. It's one thing to look at the spellcasters. It's one thing to say, spells for, trying to make sure that my wife is obedient to me. But it was another thing to see specifically, methods of killing Maya being potentially researched here by Larry. But these were also searches or things that were queries that were looked at months prior to her disappearance. Not to say that the research can't be done, but I think that if it was done in December, versus April when this took place, that might be more of a link. But I think the fact that it was several months prior, that gives the defense an alley to be like, well, things could have been patched up before then. This could have been just a moment where he strayed off his path. Also, we continue to see, and this is also something that, this is Larry's behavior, this is not the prosecution, but the switching between gunshot, or the method of potential method for killing, gun, and or poison, which is also what the prosecution has been doing. So very clearly, I guess they also have not been able to determine without really stretching themselves how it is that they believe she died. This is also, they're letting it into what they've uncovered. They're saying, hey, look, he's looked into both of these methods, and it's possible one or both were used, but we definitely think that she's dead. The search results, obviously the anonymous reporting tip that kind of led through all of that, a lot of fascinating details. but still no, smoking gun still at this time. It'll be very curious to see where it is that they go from here. As we know, Jamie Laird still remains to be a potential witness that could take the stand. Does that open up, as we said, a constant objection fest when defense goes to cross-examination? That was something that we talked about with Jenny Day yesterday as well, too. So, I mean, honestly, a whole lot of openings here, but a very telling day. But also, as we said, we hate to sound like broken records, continuing to sort of character profile a lot of these individuals that are involved.
I mean, it's a middle ground argument from the prosecution. It's essentially saying we don't have proof as to how Maya was killed, but we do believe that Larry was exploring a myriad of options. We just don't know which one he opted for, but we do know that there was multiple options that he had. And that's something that you hear through the interactions that he had with family members as well. You've had you've had one witness say that he had motion to a gun that he had during a party. He said that he wanted to kill someone. And then you also hear from a separate family member on the witness stand that he had been asking about hemlock. So not just Google searches, it has been inquiries, perhaps even confessionals, if that's the right way to say it, with family members. A couple other details here before we kind of reset here and take a break. More details on the day after Maya was last seen. They did a cell phone analysis of Larry's phone.
The DA investigator.
Said that the phone was unplugged at 3:35 a.m. with the battery at 87%, and the phone turned off. It did not turn back on until 6:34 p.m. That's 12-hour gap in usage. Like we've mentioned, Larry says that he was in Solana Beach and around that area throughout that time. There hasn't been any lifeguards or anything of the nature that have confirmed that he was there at that time. Another thing here, there was also talks about Larry's affair that he had, a prior affair. Saying in an exchange in June of 2020, quote, "I only strayed once." This is saying to Maya. "I wouldn't do it again. It happened in Temecula." They said that this affair occurred shortly after marriage, before children, after moving to California. This also took place when a family member of Maya was hospitalized. There was a lot of questions as to what you were going to see there. The defense argued that it was irrelevant to this case, had nothing to do with Maya wanting a divorce. Of course, remember that happened before the kids were even brought into the picture. They said it was inadmissible hearsay. They said that it amounts to character evidence against Larry that hasn't been placed in evidence necessarily, had nothing to do with the divorce. The judge said that he was not convinced that it reflected Maya's state of mind. The jury had been instructed to disregard any reference to the affair by Timmers. That was a coworker of Maya who was on the stand yesterday. Of course, we had some tech issues, so we weren't really able to dive deep into the details of her. But this was part of the cross-examination that we said today. They knew each other for 12 years.
This was also, I believe this is what Jenny was also talking about as well too. When a lot of these friends of Maya's are on the stand, they're accounting their last moments, speaking to Maya as well too. And you have that, final context where it's something as simple as like, hey, reaching out, here's the Amazon receipt for this was a gift that she had gotten for her child who was about to have the birthday. Which again,
I planned to be a big bear.
Yeah. Can't imagine how emotional that probably could have been. Again, no cameras in the courtroom, so not able to see that. But I have to imagine that was a tough way to end that testimony.
Yeah, it's been a tension that goes far beyond just those who are involved too. I mean, the conversations that we've had with Jenny have been really eye-opening because, again, no cameras. We're getting this all off a Google Doc.
Yeah.
We're getting, we're getting incredible pool notes, and we cross-reference them with the reports that we've seen, and they've been highly accurate as time has gone on. So, we're just so impressed with how our reporters have been doing it, and that goes without saying. And it's important that we stress it because they're doing a really great job considering the high interest and the lack, I would say, of access, outside of just being present in the room.
Yeah, I mean, hats off, because I do think you make a great point. It's very hard to contextualize emotion, especially in reporting without hearing from people. And I do think that plays a role in this trial. And Shannon, Kelly, Jenny, they're all doing a really great job.
It's like you can see it in their eyes. And it's like when you ask them about it, they're like, I've been dying to talk about it. It is so tense in there every single day. We've highlighted some of the flare-ups that we've seen between some of the some of the witnesses, of course, one of them being Mari Chris and Larry's father. There's been outbursts with Maya's father while he was on the stand, and even some of the the early proceedings before the jury comes in. We're seeing the defense and we're seeing the prosecution go at it with each other in these moments about, you mentioned the Jamie Laird one and the objections. That was something that we talked about, and we expect if he goes to the stand to be something that, like you said, I think it's fair to say we could likely see the defense really test that limit and see what they're going to be able to get away with. And I expect that to be tense if that ends up occurring, because you're going to see the prosecution object at almost everything. And if they go outside of the bounds of what the judge had already set for them, they could be admonished in front of everyone.
But the judge
but that might not happen. I'm just saying that.
But the judge also is sort of allowing it, right? Like they're saying, like he said, like we are going to just take it as a question by question basis, which he is sort of allowing, like, for there to be like a little bit of a like, okay, we'll test this theory out. Now he has already told them it's not Jamie Laird that's on trial, but they are going to take it question by question, which again, as you said, the prosecution is likely going to be sitting there like with the help button, like object.
Like a quick trigger like that, like you're on Jeopardy or something like that.
Exactly.
And it's kind of similar than what we've seen with some of the investigators. The defense has been framing it as not necessarily they've gotten called out for essentially trying to frame it as, well, why haven't you investigated this person and all that? And that's something that we've seen objected to. We've seen the judge comment on, but you also see it framed as, this is your first case, right? Is it possible that you made mistakes? Why is it that someone who is so inexperienced, the one who is taking on a case of this nature? So, we've seen those kind of two different sides of how the defense has gone about it with multiple witnesses and multiple testimonies. So definitely going to see that again if we do end up seeing Jamie Laird on the stand. Should be really interesting. And I know that we're going to be excited to hear what Jenny has to say from her first person experience, because the details that we've gotten have just been absolutely incredible.